it gets canned roughly, and then I have to create a new one in the next 4 months.
Now, is this feedback, I want just for clarification to make sure I understand your process. This feedback is from your two identified mentors, advisors?
Yeah, that's right. So they take feedback from the other faculty at the conference, but it's basically them making a decision that the paper I've presented is not feasible or attractive at that point.
Okay. But you are not there.
Oh, I'm there. I'm presenting it in a workshop format at the conference. And then the next Monday, we get together and I'm told that those papers will not be progressing. So I identify a new one to write each year. That's probably the worst part of the mentorship, is the cost of 3 or 4 months of effort towards a goal we had both agreed on, only for it to get scrapped and a new one adopted. With a very short timeline in order to turn it around.
Right. So can you talk me through some of the those discussions, that relationship? Is that kind of, how would you describe that relationship in those meetings? What kind of adjectives would you use to describe your mentors and your experience with them?
Okay, well, one would be that they are sensitive to the beliefs of other faculty members, I think would be a generous way of putting it. So they take the tone of people listening to my presentations, and then as a result of that, decide on whether they think that research project will be successful ultimately. And then if they get the sense in those conferences that it won't be particularly successful, then they redirect me to a different subject. So the tone is always intended to be helpful. They always push towards topics which later fare pretty nicely. But at the same time, they were trying to be helpful and they were trying to be clear in about October every year once we selected an initial topic to write about. So their decisions change, I'd say.
Would you describe your relationship with your mentors as purely academic or more holistic in nature?
Purely academic.
Purely academic?
Academic and professional, not personal.
Okay.
Not very personal.
Okay. And the two advisors that you're referring to, are these the only two mentors that you have, or are there others maybe that are not in your program that you rely on for mentorship?
Sure. So I have another mentor at Kennesaw State where I did my undergraduate and master's, and he has been very useful in the application process for a PhD, deciding which program to accept. And then also we have co-authored a paper as well in the last year or two. So he's been a strong resource. I'm currently on the job market, and at our annual meeting I spent an evening with him talking through the jobs I was considering and getting his perspective on them. But he's also been a very helpful external voice in the process. He's not obviously involved in the day-to-day decisions at Alabama, and certainly isn't an expert in my particular field of research, but he's been around the accounting profession for quite a long time, and has a good sense of what I'm going through and what will be useful for me in the long term.
Okay.
So I think if I were to count up mentors, I have 3 inside members on my dissertation committee, one of whom is the program director. He was not an advisor prior to my dissertation, so this past year. And I have somebody not at Alabama who isn't on my dissertation committee, but is a strong supporter. And then I have mentors outside of the PhD program as well that I worked with in practice, and I'll periodically reach out to them, but they have less input now that I'm in the academic arena.
Okay.